You're listening to another Geek Pride podcast. Sit back, relax, and put it in your ears. Coming to some ears near you. In a world so like this one, you couldn't tell the difference. Geeks and fanatics engage in eternal war for the perfect film pitch. Judged by their peers, and against all odds they cry, "Pitch, please."
Hello and welcome to Pitch Please, Geek Pride's podcast
start.
in which we gather a couple of our finest gentlemen and ask them to pitch on hypothetical movies, comics, games, etc., etc. I'm your host, Callum Tyndall, and joining me today are Misters Mike Orvis
Ahoy.
and Ben Fee.
I am super turned on right now. That was a very sensual introduction there.
He was quite close, so I think we should probably outsource Callum to the ASMR community just to talk about things that he's seen that day. Like, he should come back from work and we'll just get him on the thing to be like, today I saw a bird and its plumage was
on my
really...
keyboard today. It's time for some emails.
And it,
the emails.
I'm just gonna...
You have a written email.
I'm just gonna write some emails now.
I wish I had some scissors.
Why do you wish you had some scissors? Do you want to
what
cut yourself?
There's like those hair cutting ASMR ones.
Oh yeah.
They're
Well,
weird.
you know where that came from, right? There was a thing called the virtual barbershop, which did the rounds for years as just a downloadable piece of sound that used these all-round microphones. So if you put earphones on, it genuinely sounded like you were getting a haircut. It was very clever. Anyway,
weird.
Do you want to control the podcast?
You're the one who's trying to kickstart my ASMR career. Anyway,
ASMR, not
it's all
SMR.
things to me, Mike. Anyway, today I will be asking these fine gentlemen to pitch me.
Why are you whispering? Why are you whispering? Why aren't you talking like you normally
Mostly
talk?
Because I don't want to be too loud with my sister asleep like a couple of doors down.
Do you know what would change that, mate?
What? What's that? If I moved out of this house, Mike, and lived further away from work, with greater travel expenses.
Yep.
You dick.
All that money that you'd spend, but imagine your independence. Anyway, this is the ongoing saga of this podcast. Is that I'm trying to convince. If this is the first time you're listening to this podcast,
This is the real story of the podcast.
Why?
Is none of the pitches.
The subplot, the B story, is that I'm trying to get Callum to move in with me, and he doesn't want to. But that's fine. It's much like my relationship status.
I want people to do things, and they won't.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, so yeah, Legend of Zelda movie. If you happened to tune in for the clusterfuck that was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie,
How the fuck? How dare you?
no, not on your end, Mike.
All right, good.
Let me explain. You might have got a little preview of what happens when you step up to Mr. Orvis and one of his body pillow obsession level passions.
I wish I had a body pillow. That would be amazing. I should get a body pillow. I'm that level of lonely that I'm generally consider. I should just get a body pillow.
This episode is getting very sad very quickly.
No, everything's good. I've got a new job.
So,
Just no Callum in my life. That's fine.
Zelda hold a somewhat
Have you
similar
mentioned
place.
that Ben's in the podcast?
I did.
He's been very quiet. You're the Gav to our podquisition. That only makes sense if you listen to the podquisition.
Yeah,
Ben,
I know what you're
talk
talking
some
about.
nonsense. How are you? How's your life?
It's good. It's good. I mean, I couldn't say good enough, really. That's a
How
lie.
do you feel this podcast's going to go for you?
I'm quietly confident, very quietly confident about my ability. I am a bit...
Almost so quiet you might not know I was in this podcast.
I could have gone for a cup of tea I'm a bit intimidated by Mike's passion for this topic.
Hence why I recall the Teenage
Yeah,
Mutant
in the
Ninja
same way
Turtles.
that he destroyed you over the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I feel as though he might.
I've gone- Guys, I've gone really left field for this. So you might be pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
I thought I'd go. I've kind of put together something that I've toyed with as a concept for a couple of years, and I'll explain why I came to the concept.
A couple of years. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, I last time we did the podcast, that's when I started my Legend of Zelda pitch. Thinking about, what should I do? But this guy's done it for like 20 years. Been sitting there.
Ever since 20 years.
Ever since he picked up Link to the Past, he's been like, you know what? I'm going to pitch a film about this.
Much like in The Legend of Zelda, Mike was put into a sleep 100 years ago to dream of his pitch.
So it might be a bit of a David and Goliath situation here, but can we
just point something out very quickly about the Zelda universe? Some problem I've always had, right?
Yeah.
If you were 11 or 10 or 11, that's kind of how old they say young Link is, maybe even 12, and you get put in a sleep. You sleep for 7 years and you wake up and you're suddenly an adult. Your hands are not the first thing you're going to be looking at. I'm sorry. But,
oh yeah!
Like you goddamn right. Oh yeah! Like if I woke up, I looked down at my body and was like, I'm a fucking dude. Like obviously you look at your hands and be like, I'm fucking right. Back off, fairy. I need to go and take care of business and go and I'd have a little look.
So you're saying there should have been a scene where Link pulls up his jerkin, gets his wang out and goes, wow, that got hairier. Is that what you're suggesting here?
But didn't increase in size in 7 years. So the effects of puberty just don't.
Wait, does that happen?
Link waking up, being told, you are the hero of this entire country, and you need to go out, save a princess, fight this magic monster motherfucker, and
Yeah, but at this point, he's already blown up a dinosaur. He's fucking, he's killed a jellyfish thing. He's saved his dad tree that turned out that it wasn't his dad tree, and then it died. Spoilers for a game that came out in 1998.
Wow.
So he's pretty well versed in all the trauma, and if we're being technical, then all the stuff he does as Child Link happens in the same timeline. So actually, he also went down into the well and did all that terrifying shit. So really, the fact that he's
wild in the timeline.
Yes, I don't know where though. It's like hundreds of years in the future. So I don't know whether it's an alternate of what happens because Wind Waker happens.
Yeah.
100 years from Ocarina. So I don't know. I haven't played Breath of the Wild yet.
It's so good, Mike.
I know.
Good.
I've had friends that said, yeah, we'll totally lend you it. You can play it, and then I sort of had to sit them down and explain to them, no, I can't just be lent it.
Yeah.
I will live and breathe that shit for the next month.
By lend it, you mean I will have your Switch for months.
Yeah,
this isn't going to be like a weekend.
Yeah. I did point this out. Their sentiment was lovely, but their goals are lofty and unattainable. Anyway,
Anyways, do you want to lead us off, Mike, or would you prefer Mr. Fee?
You want me to start?
I mean,
I did because I did the Turtles pitch last time. So, like I said, this is totally left field, and I want to explain myself. Oh yeah, hang on. Sorry, I had something in my teeth. Those who don't know, I'm just going to do Callum's bit. Each person pitches, and then the person hosting the podcast chooses
I'm just
the winner.
assuming that people are committed to our brand at this point, Mike.
Then we roll a dice, and at the end we pick who's going to do what, and what we're going to pitch and stuff like that. Anyway, what I'm pitching is an idea that Shigeru Miyamoto commented on in terms of The Legend of Zelda. He said that he always wanted, because Legend of Zelda has mostly been about travelling between two worlds, that's kind of one of the main themes, and in his original pitch for Ocarina of Time, he mentions, I think it's in the Hyrule Historia, the official Zelda art book, that he wanted to not only to go in the past and the present, but he also wanted to look into the future. And that kind of gave me this idea when I was 16 of like, how cool would it be to do a Legend of Zelda game in the future? and it gave me an idea. So this isn't a film, gentlemen. This is a 13-part anime series.
Holy shit!
Called
Does Metroid
Zelda.
show up?
No, called Zelda Rino Onna, which, according to Google Translate, means the three goddesses. Your 3 stars are... So I've done like an overlay. I've not done episode by episode because that would be fucking mental. But I've done like an overlay of kind of like this would be this arc, this would be this arc, and pointing out key moments that are going on in the 13-part series. So you've got 3 kids: Nara, who's a girl, Pharaoh, who's a guy, and Dine, who's a guy. It's 2083. It's a near future world, and all attend the same school. Nara's one of the cool kids. She's athletic and popular. She idolizes her physical ed teacher, Miss Impa. Pharaoh is a blonde-haired, glasses-wearing geek. He's pervy, but he's very, very shy. And Dine is an English exchange student. He's wheelchair-bound, but he's very smart. So episodes 1 to 5, it's a normal high school comedy until the goblins attack the school. It's pretty brutal. So it's not like they look like kind of comedy. You're like, oh fucking, it's a goblin. This looks really stupid, but actually, it's pretty brutal. Like people lose limbs and stuff. They're looking for the 3 vessels, and that's all they keep saying. We're looking. We need the 3 vessels. Show us where the 3 vessels are. They're like killing teachers and stuff. It's absolute fucking pandemonium. The 3 of them are caught, and they're trapped and taken to an abandoned building. Here, you'll await your demise, they say. They have the kids argue, the 3 of them. They hate each other. Questions what those teachers even are. Suddenly, Nara just knows what they are. They're bokoblins, and they're scared of fire. They make a fire happen. This scares one of the bokoblins, and they fetch a big fella who... Again, Pharaoh just knows that. Sorry, Nara just knows that this is a moblin. He threatens Dine. Dine screams, and his petrified scream becomes a roar, and his hand changes. As he's screaming, the hand becomes kind of gnarled and clawed. They manage to escape, and they hear the call of an old homeless guy. It's really weird. They don't understand what's going on. He calls himself the King of the Park, and basically he delivers the exposition. As you know, in any anime series, you kind of have a wizard kind of character, which is an anime trope. You have the wizard or the sage who delivers the exposition. He's been waiting there for a long time. You're the new vessels. 100 years have passed. I'm Raru, the Sage of Light. You must harness your Triforce and seal away the demise. So they go on a quest to the library, these 3 guys, and they read about the Triforce in the Hyrule Historia. The librarian looks like the Mask Man from Majora's Mask, and says, Triforce? Haven't heard that legend in years. They're loud, and he kind of gets up, and you see that he's making a Keaton mask. So that's like a little throwaway gag. The Keaton mask is one of the masks that the mask guy wears. It sort of looks like Pikachu. They go to meet Impa, who listens and agrees to train them. They say, we need to fight these goblins. We need to stop demise. We've read this book. We were told that a great warrior would train us. You're the closest thing to a warrior we know, because Miss Impa is the PE teacher. She's strong as fuck, got thighs for days. You could crush a watermelon, crazy strong. And
do we get to see an example of this watermelon crushing?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There's going to be like loads of like weird little fan service, and there'll be a scene where she's throwing a javelin and she'll fucking launch it. She's teaching the kids how to throw, and she throws it, and the kids laugh, and she's like, well, I was not using my full strength, and then she fucking launches this javelin, and it's like whoosh, fucking a million miles, and you don't see it. Maybe it does that little ding, thing when it flies up in the air. Anyway, so they're training, and you start to understand the kids a little better and their powers. Nara, who's this preppy, popular, like cheerleader, for want of a better expression, she's really smart. and light comes from her hands. She finds out that she can throw this light. So the javelin thing that you would have seen earlier, she starts learning how to do that. She starts learning how to throw these javelins of light, and she can use it to heal. Pharaoh is quick, like really quick. He's unnaturally fast, like not like the Flash or anything, but his reflexes are crazy. He can catch arrows out of the air, and he can use any weapon like he's been trained with it all his life. It's unnatural. Like Impa gets out this rack of weapons. He's like, choose one, and he's like going through each of them, going, I don't know how I can use this. The minute he puts it down, he's like, he doesn't think he can use it anymore. He takes his glasses off, and he still can't see very well. So he's like, I don't understand what's going on. Maybe he makes a reference to Spider-Man. You know, the Spider-Man movie where, you know, he suddenly his vision's better. And you make some kind of geeky reference to that, because that's what Pharaoh's all about. He's a proper, like, little basement-dwelling nerd. He's not supposed to be able to be this quick or use weapons like this. Dine, because he's still in a wheelchair, he can summon shadows briefly, and his hands go a little clawy when he does that. But these shadows kind of resemble the outlines of stuff. He can't quite... They don't normally take shape, but imagine Gaara from the Naruto series, the way the sand moves. So it's kind of like that, but with these shadows. When he really pushes it, his hands do that clawy thing again. Nara, once she learns a little bit more about her healing powers, tries to heal Dine. She said, I'm gonna make your legs work again. And it's fucking excruciating. Like, Dine is in severe amounts of pain when she tries to do it. They are being watched. There's a shadowy figure who's like, the dialogue for the shadowy figures, like really really sassy, really fucking like is better than all of this. The vessels are awake. The Twilight will be thrilled, and that's kind of what you get on the end of like episode 4. You know how most anime ends in like a little cliffhanger. So the cliffhanger of episode 4 is like, yeah, the Twilight will be thrilled. More episodes, they all get better. There's a poignant moment when Dine channels his power to be able to walk, but his legs just take on like this black. They're just like jet black. Pharaoh tries to perv on Impa, so she challenges him to a spar. Not a spar, S-P-A, spar, S-P-A-R. And he nearly beats her.
Nobody thought spar, as in the bath.
Oh, okay, good. So yeah, she spars with him, and he nearly beats her. And you see him, Pharaoh, do the spin attack, and there's almost just on the edge of the sword, there's just like this tiny amount of flame, and you're like, what the fuck? They feel like they're ready to go back and take their town. So in episode 5. They go back and they're like, we're fucking trained, we're ready. And Impa's like, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can't do now. You guys are excellent. They suffer a massive defeat. The goblins are no more. Like, they defeat all the goblins. And Pharaoh leads the charge against lizard men that have popped up as well out of some kind of portal. Then a Goobo freezes Dine. They're those zombie things that scream and freeze them. Nara just about saves him, and a Dodongo appears to swallow Pharaoh whole. And he just about escapes in like a weird explosion thing. He like cuts his way out, but they're all severely injured. They run away to recuperate. Impa says the training must continue. The shadowy figure returns and says, not the way you do it, Slowpoke, they'll never survive. The shadowy figure turns out to be Midna, from the Twilight Princess series. Yeah, so that's like the big reveal. So she becomes like this is the next part of your training. As again, that's an anime trope. You've gone through one trainer, you've learned everything they've learned. There's no possible way I can learn anything else. So some new magical creature pops up and goes, here's unconventional training that's going to make you stronger. She trains them and delivers more exposition about the Hero of Time. She flashes back to Twilight Princess stuff, explains more about the Triforce and the Seal. You're on your... by the way, Pharaoh, like, he went off in a different direction. Like, the Dodongo injured him, and the other two barely escaped. So we don't know where Pharaoh's been this time. We just imagine he's dead. Anyway, Midna explains more about the Triforce and the seal to the sacred realm. You and your friend must share DNA with the princess, the knight, and the knave. They must stop demise. Pharaoh turns up, like, after sort of an episode or two, and he's angry at Midna instantly. He's just like, who the fuck is this? Don't you know what that is? He says to his friends, like, don't you know who she is? She's evil incarnate. And she tries to stop him from, like, attacking her, and she says, you look just like him, Link. And there's a flash of a blade, and Pharaoh kind of pulls a blade out of nowhere, and it's a dark sword. And he says, I can't let you stop demise. So Pharaoh's been fucking turned. There's a big anime fight. I've literally written that. Big anime fight. Everyone uses their powers. You know, typical. Oh, we got to try our hardest.
Last for multiple episodes, or are we
last for about an episode. Yeah.
Oh,
they just about escape with their lives, and Midna gets hurt. Pharaoh performs some weird action with his arms, and a green light surrounds him, and he just teleports. Midna kind of starts shouting about the Lost Forest and Evil's Bane, but the other two don't know what the fuck she's on about. She's like, we need to go to the Lost Forest, we need to find Evil's Bane. Episodes 8 to 10 are about finding the Evil's Bane. Those of you who know Legend of Zelda, it's the fucking Master Sword. That's what they're looking for. They travel through to the Temple of Time, and they get the sword. They go through this portal to the Temple of Time, and they go to find the Lost Wood. There's trials and tribulations that happen there. They learn to trust each other. Pharaoh prepares on his own because he's disappeared. You cut to while three of them, Midna, Dine, and Nara are finding the sword. Pharaoh is training in his own way, but it's kind of like Fight Club. So Pharaoh's in the middle of this ring kind of thing, and just fighting various monsters from the Zelda series. But he's like, is there no one that can defeat me? In walks Zant. And then cut to black, I think I'll give it a try. Something like that. Zant appears. Zant's one of the main bosses from Twilight Princess. In episode 11, they return with the sword to find Pharaoh's been subjugated under the new Dark King. He wears this weird, creepy helmet. I've written again, anime fight. Dine is defeated and his legs break again. Nara has a flash of inspiration. Her left hand glows. She charges at Pharaoh with the sword, which opens with the power of light in her hand, so that the guard opens up, and the light begins to kind of emanate from the sword. She thrusts the sword into Pharaoh's chest, and there's an explosion of darkness. The sword falls, the helmet falls and shatters, and all is silent. Pharaoh speaks to Zant and says, "You bastard, you used my newfound courage and twisted it." There's a big anime fight. Pharaoh...
To think that on the screen it doesn't even show the fight. It just comes up with
says
big anime
fight. So Pharaoh now has the sword. The minute he touches the sword, his hand glows with this light. The back of his hand glows, and the Master Sword opens up fully, and there's a Triforce symbol on the Master Sword, and it glows as well. The sword opens up. His finishing kind of move is he does the spin attack that you saw him do on Impa, but this time there's a fucking double flame of goodness. You've got the fucking flame on the tip of the sword, and then there's this other blue majestic fucking shit on the end of the blade, and it's this massive anime attack, and it's like, wow, crazy. The helmet, it beheads Zant. It fucking kills him outright. The helmet continues to talk until it completely disappears. It's kind of like melting into darkness, and he's like, "You fools! Demise is already on his way." The guys go back to a cave of sorts because the city's been almost demolished now. They go to this safe space on the outside of town that Raru is. He knows that near the library. Actually, sorry, I've just written that. Because of the trust between them all, Nara is able to restore Dine's legs. It's then explained that the two powers that they contain are used to fighting, and when there's not a trust there, that's why the powers were at loggerheads, because it's light and shadow. So she fixes his legs, and they prepare for battle. They must enter the sacred realm. They hold hands and make a portal, kind of really focusing. You see the backs of their left hand light up on each of them, and only the three go in. It closes before Midna or Raru can get involved. Episode 12, there's a ruined Hyrule castle, and they fight through the castle to get to the main courtyard and meet Demise. Then episode 13, things look bleak. Demise has kind of kicked the shit out of them. For those of you who don't know what Demise looks like, it's like Akuma and Ganon had a baby. And it kicks her. He's pretty fucking kick-ass. Things are looking completely bleak. The guys are working as hard as they can. Nara's developed like these crazy light arrows that she can shoot, and Dine has got these amazing shadow powers. He kind of like he fires these dark energy blasts at Demise. He seems to be doing the least amount of damage, if truth be told, but he is able to hold Demise back physically with like floating hands above his hands, kind of thing. You get what I mean when I say that? It's like hands of dark energy that kind of envelop him, and he can Suddenly, Raru turns up, and he says, "I've brought the rest of the sages." And then you see a glorious reveal of all the sages from Ocarina of Time, and they just start sort of letting their power into Demise to try and hold him back. Dine does the same. He's trying to like Kamehameha, but black. Nara shoots an arrow into the chest of Demise, and Pharaoh does this big jump and a head stab, and all the monsters outside that they've been fighting past and trying to run through start to wither and crumble. If you look at the end of Wind Waker is where I kind of took that inspiration from. The way that Ganondorf is killed, there's the Master Sword just goes through his head. He's impaled. Jesus. That kind of thing. Well done, Dine. Power of friendship. Blah blah blah. The sages go, "Oh, we can take you back now. We can give you Midna's waiting for you on the other side." Blah blah blah. Everything's great, and they're like, "No way! There's adventure to be had in this land of Hyrule." Big anime thing where, you know, it's the Zelda theme, but it's trendy, and someone's singing in Japanese over it. Credits, everything's great. End of season 1. Maybe post-credit scene with Midna to kind of maybe the next season would be about the Twilight stuff. If you didn't get it, by the way, I just want to go back very quickly. But the names of the three main characters. The three goddesses in Zelda are Din, Farour, and Naru, and that's why the kids are called Nara, Pharaoh, and Dine, and they represent wisdom, courage, and power, which are the three aspects of the Triforce.
So when does my boy in green show up?
When does your boy in green show up?
Yeah.
Well, that's Pharaoh. Pharaoh's like he shares DNA with Link, and Dine shares DNA with Ganon, which is why he's English, because he's
Cyberpunk Link.
Well, like the thing is, it's like I said, it's a near future tale, so there is some like little technology bits, and that's kind of a red herring for the whole series, because it starts out and you're like you've got like these Zelda sort of leans towards the Zelda series, but it's basically a high school thing. Pharaoh is like playing in VR headsets and stuff, and he's playing something very similar. There'll be a whole, in the establishing episodes, there'll be a whole thing about the fact that, you know, he can't fight for shit in real life because he's too skinny and blah blah blah. You wouldn't, much like the DC and Marvel long series, they wouldn't put on costumes until kind of season 2, and then even then they're going to wear like their versions of it. But yeah, I really like that as a concept of kind of moving it into the future as opposed to being stuck in the past and redoing an old story. That then gets rid of the fact that, you know, Link's not supposed to talk. It doesn't really tread over ground that's already been tread, and allows you to kind of, that's a really good jumping off point. You know, we've got adventures. They could go back adventuring in Hyrule. There could be shit that happens in the other world. You could go to Twilight. You could go to fucking anywhere. I like that as a concept, and I think the anime format gives a real personality to these three kids that you can't really get in a standalone film.
That world has been begging for an anime adaptation for years.
Yeah,
and there's been so much like. What was it? There was that trailer a little bit ago that was like, if Studio Ghibli did Zelda.
Oh, nice! I haven't seen that.
It was something like that. It was, you know, like the idea of. I think it was just some animator or something put it together as a bit of fan work of like, what if Zelda was made as an anime-looking series, and it was just like, oh, this works so well within the format.
The mangas are really good. The Zelda adaptations to manga are awesome.
Yeah.
They're really cool. The artwork's always really expressive and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe there's a Legend of the Red Rangers kind of episode where he meets all the, you know, Pharaoh goes on a quest and finds all the iterations of Link or some bullshit. Or maybe maybe we'll steal some more stuff from Skyward Sword and the Master Sword comes alive and you get what's their name? I've forgotten her name. The Spirit of the Sword. You all know what I'm talking about. Fee, the Spirit of the Sword. So yeah. Anyway, that's my pitch. Anyway, so yeah. Hope you enjoyed it.
I like that. I would definitely watch that show.
Right?
Yeah, definitely watch it.
There's just one thing I'd add is when you were talking about the theme tune as like some, you know, J-pop version of the Zelda.
Yeah.
That's not what it is. It's just the Attack on Titan theme song. Because as we all know, that theme song goes over everything.
Yeah, but the problem with the Attack on Titan theme song is I've had it ruined for me because there was a short series of videos that did anime theme songs with misheard lyrics, and I'm going to ruin Attack on Titan for all of you now. The lyrics sound like having the sex with the bees and the eagles, and I now can't listen to Attack on Titan without going, having the sex with the bees and the eagles.
You just made it
better. So yeah, it's quite difficult. Anyway, Ben, it's your turn, sir.
I wish that I'd gone first now, because that is intimidating as shit. The breadth of knowledge there, the depth that you've got into it is crazy. My Zelda knowledge is nowhere near that level, so please excuse me if some of the things I say aren't canon or entirely accurate. My film is not going to be a faithful addition to the Zelda genre. I mean, whereas the anime would definitely fit on the actual timeline of events, my film, or should I say films, as it's a trilogy, my films would be more of, I know, right, ambitious much, would be more of a sort of a gateway to a Zelda film universe for people who are more sort of casually involved in Zelda. They've played Ocarina of Time.
So the weed to Mike's crystal meth.
Yeah, it's a gateway as opposed to the hardcore hit that you need after 20 years of abuse. So So yeah, it's far more casual, and it's far less. I don't want to say.
Sorry. Full disclosure.
Yeah.
Callum has sent me the Zelda X Studio Ghibli trailer, and oh my god,
Did you see
that's
the
fucking beautiful.
posters as well?
Yeah. I'm so sorry, Ben. I was listening to you, but I saw that and was like, I'm just gonna like pop this on, and even without sound, I was like, oh my god. Sorry, Ben.
No, that's fine. You guys continue chatting about whatever the fuck that is. I'll just wait.
Like I wasn't on a roll.
So sorry.
Okay.
It's for the more casual Zelda fan.
More casual Zelda fan. It's more of a what would make a good movie as opposed to what would excite a Zelda nerd. Okay, this film ideally would have been made in about 1985, but I'm not sure that's really top of the.
Is that because Michael Keaton's too old to play Link now?
No, it's because the style of the film I'm going for is going to be an 80s American a child adventure film. Like Labyrinth or Neverending
Played by
Story.
Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, or what's his name?
Oh my god, put Bowie in there.
Bowie as
Oh
Ganon.
my god! Bowie is one of the great fairies.
Oh,
I'll give you a
marvelous.
magic bar.
well,
You'll go far, boy, in your hat of green.
there will be a lot of similarities because I'm going to have the Jim Henson Company do the special effects for it.
Yes. I want to see a Jim Henson Goran yesterday.
Right?
Fucking. Oh my god.
I think
You're gonna win.
It would look
Fuck.
quite like the rock munchers from Neverending Story, the huge rocky creatures that ate all the rocks. That's kind of what I'm imagining. Well, more round though for the Gorons.
Amazing.
So, 3 films. The general gist of the film, the sort of the arc of the entire trilogy, is going to be live action, set originally in America, and it's going to be about this young boy living with his mum, and he gets sucked into this magical world, Hyrule, and he learns he is destined to be a great hero. Obviously, initially he'll reject this destiny, but then he'll learn to embrace it, and over the course of the 3 films, he'll in the first one he'll accept his destiny. Second one he'll train to be this hero, and then the third one he will realise his destiny in killing Ganon, the ruler of this mystical world. So in the first film we meet our main character, and it is Link. There's no subtleties here. There's no kind of like obscure references to weird parts of the canon. It's just going to be there. This is Link. This guy's a blonde kid. He's the same age as all these kids are in these films. The same age as Bastion in Neverending Story. The same age as the Goonies. He's that kind of like 11, 12-year-old, I'd say. And he lives with his mum. And the film will start with her telling a story. We don't know it's her. All we hear is her voice, first of all. But we hear this story about Hyrule, and she's telling us about it. So over the credits will start with the lush greenery of Hyrule, the beautiful fairy tale castles, the volcano. A lot of my cues in this story are going to come from Ocarina of Time, only because it is the most known
Zelda.
Yeah. It's the most popular touch point for Zelda fans. And everyone knows Ocarina of Time. If you're even remotely consider yourself to be a fan of Zelda, you will know Ocarina of Time. And it's probably the best one as well. Arguably the best game ever made.
Right.
It is metacritically rated as such.
Yeah, there you go. A lot of our touchstones are going to come from Ocarina of Time. So we hear this woman telling a story. As the camera flies over Hyrule, we see all the beauty of it. And we tell the story about a magical kingdom of Hyrule, where a brave king ruled over a lot of different kind of peoples. There were the Gorons who lived in the mountains, the Zora who lived in the lakes and the seas, and then there were the Gerudo who lived in the deserts. Outside the bounds of the kingdom, there lived all kinds of monsters, goblins and skeletons and everything like that, monsters living around the kingdom, and he protected the kingdom from these monsters. she tells of a story where the king was celebrating the birth of his daughter, Zelda. So we're straight in there with Zelda. We're introducing her as a character. He invited all the kings of the different tribes, different groups to come to the palace to see this birth and celebrate it with him. So the Queen of the Zora is there, the King of the Gorod is there, and here comes Ganondorf, the King of the Gerudo, the Thief King. And he's come to celebrate as well. But Ganondorf has ulterior motives. He's really there to steal the Triforce. The Triforce that the King of Hyrule uses to protect them all from the monsters. The magical emblem, the magical device that gives him his power and lets him rule over these different areas. So the celebration goes on, and that evening Ganondorf lets in his Gerudo thieves and also goblins with whom he has made a pact. He has allowed goblins into the lands of Hyrule for the purpose of breaking into the castle and sealing the Triforce. Now in the story that is told by this woman, the king tries to fend him off, but Ganon, being a powerful sorcerer, manages to trap the souls of the royal family, the king, the queen, and the daughter, into a spirit stone, and they're trapped in it. And he reaches to get the Triforce, but as he does, the Great Fairy appears. The Great Fairy who gave the king the Triforce in the first place appears, and she shatters it into 3 pieces. Ganon manages to grab one of them, Ganondorf, managed to grab one of them, but the other 2 are lost. We don't know where they are. At this point, the woman telling the story goes into a coughing fit, and we see her in a bedroom, in normal modern day, and she's sitting in a bedroom, and she's lying on a bed, and she's all this medical equipment around her, and we see that she's very sick. She's got tubes going into her mouth, into her nose, and she's talking to her young son, who's sitting next to the bed, a young blonde boy called Link. He looks after her. We see his life. He looks after his mum. He does everything for her. There's just him and her. No one else. He makes her food. He puts her to sleep. And the one pleasure that she gets is telling him stories of this magical fairy tale kingdom of Hyrule. And he's heard the story 1,000,000 times, but he just loves listening to his mum tell it. We see his home life is strained because he has to do a lot of things. There's a lot of responsibilities on the boy. And we see his school life isn't great as well. He travels to school. As he travels to school the first time we see, there are some strange, shadowy figures watching him. Small, quite small, strange figures watching him. And you hear them talking. Is that him? Is that the one? Shh, you'll see us, kind of thing. They're trying to keep back. They're clearly not hostile, but they're quite mysterious. We see at school that young Link gets bullied quite heavily. And there's a bully named Daniel who mercilessly taunts him over his sick mother. And
Fucking Daniel.
Bastard. And he's extremely cruel
I'm
to him.
curious, is him being Daniel really important?
Daniel, the name Daniel, no, but I'll need a name to him for later on.
I was just curious. I was like, shit, am I missing a reference to a Daniel? I don't know.
No. There's no Daniel in Legend of Zelda. And here is Daniel.
The Great Fairy Daniel.
I can call him Shithead, because that's what I name all my characters in Zelda. So everyone says, hey, Shithead, it's like, anyway, so there's a little reference in here when they're fighting him. They push him over, and he turns around and grabs a stick and tries to fend them off with a big stick. A Deku stick, really. But it breaks almost instantly. So he's not a happy kid. He's got a bit of a black eye, a bit of a bloodied lip by the time he goes home. On the way home, he's encountered by these mysterious, shadowy figures. They're weird looking. They're like small children, the size of maybe 3-4-year-olds. And their clothes are all green, and their faces are all weird green as well. They are puppets. And they're going to be animated by the Jim Henson Company. If you can imagine in Muppets Christmas Carol, the Ghost of Christmas Past was this weird, creepy-looking little girl doll Muppet. They look kind of like that. They're not obviously not human, but they're trying to look human. And they speak to him, "Oh, brave hero, destined hero, you are in trouble. You should come with us now." And Link's like, "Nah, I'm good, thanks, though. This is weird. You guys are strange. I'm going to go." "No, you come with us. You're in great trouble." But Link's like, "No tar." And on his bike, he's gone.
He's fairly chill about these creepy puppets. Just quite unbothered.
They're going to be, yeah. They're going to. Is it like he's obviously taken aback. This is weird. I'm not sure what it's about. I'm just going to do a hard pass on this weirdness. I'm out. I've got to go home with my mum. She needs me. So he pedals off home. She's distraught that he's been bullied again at school, but there's not much she can do. She's so weak. She can't go down there. She can't even pick up the phone to call the headmaster to complain. All she can do is give him a hug and tell him that he's loved. It's hard for him. It's a hard. We get a picture of a hard life for this young boy who is bravely powering through and doing what he can to survive.
It's a hard knock life.
There's very few musical numbers in the film, and if there were, we wouldn't be doing Annie.
So I do appreciate that you said very few, suggesting there are some.
Well, you've ruined the big reveal of the Gorons doing Annie's "It's a Hard Rock Life."
Oh, nice.
Shit!
At the end.
Can you smell?
Oh shit! Yeah, get The Rock to play the Goron King. Just doing the eyebrow all the time.
You cunt! That's fucking brilliant.
So anyway, yeah. So I'll spin through the sort of establishing bit. So that night he hears some shouts outside, people throwing rocks at the window, rattling the doors in the frame. He runs downstairs. He thinks it's the bully. Is that you, Daniel? And he's out of the house, looking around his darkened garden, looks back into his house, towards the house again, and there's a monster there. There's a monster, a head taller than he is, gruesome.
Is it Emperor Palpatine in blackface?
Right. Yeah, wow, you called it. That's really, really random. No, it's not. It's not Palpatine, with or without blackface. It's a goblin. It's a huge goblin. One of those kick-ass swords that they have, those big rough swords that they have in Wind Waker.
Oh, those big, rough, veiny swords that they've got, yeah.
Yeah, those big tumescent swords that they're carrying. And there's a few of them, and he's crapping himself. Inside he hears his mum shout, "Link, are you okay?" And the goblins look inside, and terrified that they'll go inside and hurt his mum, he jumps on his bike, which is there by the fence, and he shouts to them, come and get me. I'm here. And he goes off on his bike. The goblins chase after him, but they're fast, faster than you'd expect. He's cycling down the road, down a dark road, goes into the woods. There's a road going through the woods, Stranger Things style, that kind of atmosphere. Kind of 80s kind of.
Can I vote for a synthwave version of the Lost Woods theme, please?
Love it.
While he's doing this.
Yeah. And he almost crashed into these three green Muppets. Clearly, by this point, we know they're Kakiri. He almost crashed into them, off his bike, skinned his knee. "Follow us, brave warrior, we will save you." And he's got no choice at this point. His bike, the chains go off his bike, he's skinned his knee, the goblins are right behind him. He follows these creatures into the woods. Where are we going? What we're doing is going dark. He can't really see where he's going, you see these three little creatures in front of him, and he falls down a hole. Everything goes black. He wakes up in a wooded glade, little green lights floating down towards him. All around, on the trees, are more of these
faces.
There's Dinah Ross. Are more of these Kakiri, and they're all around him in front of this huge tree, the Deku tree, and it tells him, "Welcome to Hyrule.
I am your father.
I am a giant tree." So that's pretty much how we get Link from this world into Hyrule. He's given a wooden sword and a wooden shield by the tree, which he's not too impressed with. He's told that he can't return to his own world. The Deku tree used the last of its magic, sending the Kakiri there to get him. He is destined to be a great hero that saves Hyrule. But Link's having none of it. He's like, it's crazy. I must be unconscious or asleep. I just want to go home. And the Deku says, "Well, get the Spirit Stone. If you can find the Spirit Stone, we can use the magic in that to send you home." So Link agrees, reluctantly. And he goes off. But he takes one of the Kakiri with him. One of the Kakiri go with him. Saria, a little girl. And in Hyrule, she's much smaller. She can sit on his shoulder. So that's one of our sort of abiding images, is going to be him in this green tunic. In Hyrule, he's wearing this green outfit all of a sudden. His green clothes. Not wearing the hat yet, because it's a bit of a hard sell, the hat, to be honest, for a live-action show. He'll probably pick up later on.
His final form.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, sure. But the abiding image we're going to have is of him in this green outfit with a sword, wooden shield, with a little the little Deku symbol on the front of it, with a little green Muppet girl at his shoulder, Saria. He comes across friends and foes as he travels through Hyrule. His quest is to find the Spirit Stone, which is being held by the King of the Gorons. The King of the Gorons was the first king to bend the knee to Ganon once Ganon came to power. And now the King of the Gorons is holding the Spirit Stone in his volcano, where no one can reach it. So Link goes there. He has no idea what he's doing. He's thinking, I'll get there, see what happens. I've no idea. He's the classic fish out of water child on a quest that he knows nothing about. He's just going for it. We probably have a few little adventures there. There's a glade full of fairies, one of whom comes with him on his adventure. A little fairy called Navi comes with him on his adventure.
Oh, god damn it.
She's annoying as fuck. But we actually see the little fairy. Instead of just being a little glowing bit of light, we can see it. And instead of just saying, hey, listen, every 5 minutes or whatever,
No, you get a really famous actress, and that is the only line they get in the fucking film.
Julia Roberts is going to play Navi. There's going to be a twist later on. Navi is the Great Fairy. That'll be our twist in the third film. So yeah, he gets to the Goron kingdom. But first, the sort of adventures he has, he falls into an old ruin of an old dungeon, which is going to be sort of how we sort of see how dungeons work in the Zelda game, how they reflect into the film. And he puts himself sneaking through it, trying to sneak past goblins in there, beasts in there, monsters in there. He finds the boomerang, which he starts to use. You know, that's what it is. He finds a horse under attack by goblins at night, and he fights them away using his little wooden sword. And it's Epona. That's how he finds Epona. And him and Epona and Saria and Navi are going to be our core. They're our group. These are the four who are on the adventure, questing to get this Spirit Stone. They get to the volcano and they find that there's sort of a worm tongue situation going on there. The Goron king is under the sway of one of the goblins, one of Ganondorf's goblins. And goblins are everywhere. These Gorons are sitting there, they're lazy, they're tired, they're not getting enough food. It's being kept from them by the goblins. The goblins are blaming the Hyruleans, the adjoining kingdom. That they're saying they're keeping the food from you, they're keeping the good stones from you, they're using it in their building. That's why you're going hungry. But of course, the goblins are keeping it themselves to keep control over the Gorons. So Link goes to the king. He's told pretty much to go away, do one. Link goes into the volcano. He fights monsters. He finds himself completely outclassed by these monsters, which of course he does. He's a kid from another world. He's got a wooden sword and a wooden shield. He's completely outclassed. His sword and shield get burnt up. He finds himself in the middle of the volcano. A huge worm monster rises from the magma. A huge worm made of fire from the magma. And this looks like the end for him. This is his big battle at the end. Him fighting this monster, and he's completely he's gonna die. That's it. But from nowhere, this woman swings in with a silver whip, and she starts whipping the monster back, getting it back. Rescues Link. They recover the Spirit Stone together, and they get outside. This woman tells him off. She's like, "What are you doing here? You shouldn't be here. You're only a child." So this is how we meet Sheik. And one sec. That film ends with them bringing the Spirit Stone back to the Deku Tree. The Deku Tree saying, we need you to stay. We need you to be the hero of Hyrule. And Link saying, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going home. I'm done. But Ganon will take over. It's like, that's not my business. I did what you asked. Please send me home. They do so, and he goes back to his own world. When he goes back to his own world, he finds that it's on fire. It's a fucking dumpster fire now. There's people are in chains. There's a huge tower with Ganon's face on it, and we learn that the world that Link comes from isn't another dimension. It's Hyrule in the far future, and by allowing Ganon to get away with ruling Hyrule, they've let him take over forever. He's ruling Hyrule far into the future as well. So the film ends with Link trying to get back to Hyrule, begging at this hole to let him back in, which eventually they do. So that's film 1. Film 2, I'll be really quick. Film 2 is going to be his training with Sheik. They need to find. Sorry, that's something else. When they actually get the Spirit Stones at the Deku Tree, they release the royal family from it, and they find that only the king and the queen are in there. The Zelda's not in it. The king says, "I used my magic to transfer the Triforce of Wisdom into Zelda before Ganon trapped us in the Spirit Stone. It must have stopped her from being able to be trapped as well. So for that reason anyway, Zelda didn't get trapped in the Spirit Stone as well. Zelda is out there somewhere. We don't know where. Obviously, if you've ever even looked at Ocarina of Time, you'll know exactly where she is. But for the casual viewer, for the sake of the film,
She's shopping, I believe.
She's shopping. Online shopping. She's in a basement. She's huge, but she's loving life. Film number 2, very quickly, will just be him training, going up against more adversaries, going to the Zoras, going to see the Queen of the Zoras, because she was also there at the birth, to find out more about where Zelda is. We're going to see more of Ganon as well in this film. Ganon and his Gerudo and his Goblin army, they're making their move. They know that the Deku Tree is moving against them. They know that the Great Hero has been sighted the land. They know that the Spirit Stones were taken from the Gorons. So he's mobilizing his troops. He's pressing down on people. He is ravaging the forests to destroy the Deku Tree and to stop this Great Hero, who doesn't really feel so great at the moment. So Link and Sheik go to the Zora. You got Navi in tow as well, coming back. Saria, not so much in this one. So you got Sheik and Link and Epona and Navi, and they go to the Zora to ask them about what happened. The Zora have some quest for them to complete before they can talk to the Queen. Maybe the Queen's been eaten by a giant fish. Something shit like that. Something absolutely mind-bogglingly crap like that.
Something that really just ruins this whole franchise.
God, that was the worst bit of the game. It's like the prince has been eaten by a fish. It's like, how do I get in this goddamn fish's mouth now? It's been ages trying to get in that fish's. Anyway, a good 2 hours of that film is Link standing outside Lord Zabu's mouth, waving everything in his equipment, waving it around, trying to get into the guy's mouth before playing that bloody song. I didn't mention the ocarina. Yes, I'm sorry. Saria will play the ocarina as she's going around in the first film, playing Saria's song, obviously, and we'll hear the other songs as we go through. One of the clues to Sheik's identity is that she'll play Zelda's Lullaby on the ocarina as they're channeling. So the Zora, when they finally get to talk to the Zora Queen, she says, the Triforce of Wisdom is in Zelda. Sheik is Zelda. She outs Sheik as Zelda. She clearly had no idea.
Oh my god, you can't just go outing ninjas.
They will kill you. She clearly didn't know this. So she is She's startled. She is mind
That
blown.
answers a question I had, actually.
Right, yes. Otherwise, why didn't she just say something? She has no idea.
Yeah, I was like, her parents have just been brought back to life in front of her. Why is she not like, hey mum?
I'm just going to keep it going a bit longer. It's going to be hilarious.
I'm too committed to the role now.
Totally prank them. No, this is how she finds out. She finds this out, and she runs away. She flees, and the film's going to end with the Gerudo and Ganon and the goblins attacking the Zora Kingdom. So there's a huge battle between Zora and all their the way they wage war with solidified water and using the actual sea itself to smash down on goblins as more and more goblins come. So you've got the Zora. There's not many Zora, there's not a load of them, but they have this immense power of the water against these hordes of goblins and Gerudo. And of course there's Ganon as well. And Link gets his first fight against Ganon. Link, newly armed with an actual sword and an actual shield, fights against Ganon, but again, he's outclassed by him. Even with his new skills, even with his training that he's had, he even tries the spin to attack him, but Ganon is too powerful. So he has to run, he has to get out of there. Navi says, get the frig out of here, get on Epona, let's go. So they flee. We find in the battle that Sheik is Ganon's daughter. Ganon raised her as his daughter. She is the princess of the Gerudo. The third film, that's how that one ends in a huge pitched battle between the two races and Link getting out there. The third film, very quickly, is going to be the search for Sheik. They're going to be trying to find her after she found she was Zelda. She disappeared. She's gone. So they travel into the Gerudo lands. So the third film is going to be them in the Gerudo lands. It's going to be dusty, sandy. It's going to be a lot of sneaking around, ninja skills, learning more about this strange desert tribe. Finally, trying to track down Sheik and learning that she is being held captive by Ganon in Hyrule Castle. Going to Hyrule Castle and having this final, penultimate showdown with Ganondorf. Ganondorf just kicking Link out a window, just smashing him through one of the high stained glass windows.
Oh, I love a bit of defenestration. That's my favourite.
He's gone, he's out the window, he falls down, he lands in a fairy cave. The fairy cave near Hyrule Castle. He lands in there.
Bowie's there.
Bowie's there. It's me, David Bowie.
Bowie plays a surprising amount of roles across this franchise.
And here Bowie says, "I'm the great fairy. Here's the master sword. It contains the Triforce of power." No, the Triforce of courage is in the master sword. So he takes this, and with this new power, he manages to defeat. He with his Triforce of power, with Triforce of courage, and Zelda with the Triforce of wisdom, which she has as well, battle against Ganon with his Triforce of power, and they manage to defeat him. Long story.
Yes.
Yay! Would have been a pretty shit ending otherwise. Zelda brings the Triforce together into the three, and she tells Link that she can use the Triforce to fulfill her wishes. To get off, just all day, every day. She's there just rubbing it. No, she can use the Triforce to grant her wishes, and she grants a wish, and she sends Link back to his own time. He goes home, and he sees his house, and he's just so happy to be home again. On his way home, Daniel's there. Fucking Daniel.
Oh,
just to
Daniel.
close that circle. Daniel's there.
Daniel.
He's like, "Oh, hey, Link."
No! You don't even know Daniel was going to come.
Link pulls out the
And
fucking...
Link stabs him through the heart.
He looks rough, he's dirty, he's wearing his hat by this point, and his ears will be pointy. Yeah. He becomes more elfin as the films go on. As he gets more magic and more powerful, he becomes more elfin with his ears. So he's got the big green hat on. He's got his green clothes on, these leather van braces and shit. He pulls out the Master Sword and he's like, "Fucking jog on, fucking jog on, Dennis."
Fucking jog on, Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel, not Dennis. Fucking jog on.
Howie
Daniel.
gave me this sword, I'll fucking kill you.
I'll mess you up, Daniel.
And then he goes into his house and he says, Mom, look, he goes upstairs to her bedroom. Mom, are you there? And her bed's empty. And there's no sign of the equipment. And he goes downstairs, he's distraught. Where's Mum? And he goes, Link, is that you? From the kitchen. And he goes to the kitchen and sees she's there. She's standing in the kitchen making sandwiches. She's absolutely fine. She's looking healthy as anything. The sun comes through the window and just illuminates her blonde hair, and she looks like an angel. She's sitting there.
Apart from the fact that all we've seen of the female role of this in the 3 films is that she's either been bedridden or making sandwiches.
I can see how that is problematic. Okay, she's fixing a bike in the background.
Yeah!
She's doing plumbing.
Take that, patriarchy.
She's doing
she's doing plumbing.
She's doing whatever she wants because she's a woman and she's independent. She's doing something in the okay, not the kitchen then. She's in the garage. Jesus. It was a nice place for the sun to come through the window. Fine, she's in the garage where there's no windows. She's in the frigging dark.
No, you can have sun coming through the window in the garage.
Okay.
Those garages have got those little windows, yeah.
Notes taken. She's in the garage fixing his bike. She comes out. She's healthy. She's beautiful. And then the film ends and we see over the sky a picture of Zelda grinning at the Triforce, just saying one last wish, which was to make his mum healthy again, and that's the end. That's the end of the trilogy.
Credits. Dance, magic dance. Everyone's like dancing. They just nick it from Labyrinth.
Having
sex with the bees and the eagles.
And then it ends with System of a Down's version of the Zelda theme.
Yes, perfect.
That's it. So the imagery I'm going for that is very much the Jim Henson kind of big squishy Muppets, the goblins, the skeletons, all the beasts and the creatures in there. I'm gonna be like that. That's pretty much it. Okay.
Cool. Callum.
Well,
it is decision time, you big sexy man.
Both of you, funnily enough, went in completely different directions to what I expected, and yet there were certain... You ended up in vaguely similar places. I thought, Mike, obviously, I love the use of the anime format, because I think Zelda is begging for that, and honestly, I think, not even necessarily anime, but like, I think we're getting into this phase now where people are starting to realise that you can do great stuff. Sometimes shows fit better in a serialised TV format than a big film. I thought the future thing was interesting. Interesting that both of you ended up with the sort of future version. You know, obviously in different ways. Obviously it's a bit of a Zelda staple, but like to go very future rather than... I mean, I think you did miss a trick by not having the Master Sword be essentially a lightsaber in the future, but... You know,
yeah, but they went back in time to get the Master Sword, didn't they? So.
Okay, well maybe it turned into a lightsaber and cut through time.
Maybe that's what season 2 is going to be.
Oh, thanks for spoiling the season, Callum. Okay, fine, great. I see where this is going. I will say the only thing I missed from yours, and like I know it was on purpose. You had I missed not having Link and Ganon and Zelda themselves. Like, I know they obviously you have the ancestral versions, which is it's a newer way of doing it.
Yeah.
But there was part of that I guess the simple brain triggers of just but it's Zelda, where's Link? Where's his fucking hat, Mike? Where's his...
Well, the thing is, these kids are gonna resemble the archetypes. They're just going to be having modern clothes, so maybe when they go adventuring in season 2, then they can start.
It's like the Hollister version of Link's tunic.
Yeah. He's got one of those fucking, those tops I'm talking about. Those tops with the buttons on them on the front.
I agree. I mean, as much as I did love Mike's pitch, the idea of having 4 episodes of a TV show called Legend of Zelda with no reference to Link, Zelda, or any of the canon would be a bit of a a hard pill.
That was my only thing, was that I think, and here's the double-edged sword of it, is that I think it's the right move in a lot of ways.
Yes.
To go, if I want to do something new with the series, we have to go hard new.
Yeah.
And it's obviously like the harsher edge of that is, and in that's like, you are doing something new, and it's really like a really fresh way of doing it.
And it's true. It's true to the Zelda property as well.
Yeah, but the problem with that is like the non-objective part of the brain goes, but where's Link and where's Zelda? Where's Ganon's stupid face?
Yeah.
And I think it might be a thing that actually I would feel that I would have to learn to love the series.
Yeah.
Get over that. Ben, I do like the whole labyrinth thing. I think it's like, I particularly like that Bowie's in like 5 different roles, because the more work we can get that man, the better. I think
he needs it. Yeah.
I would say, just not to judge Maroon, I really want, the bit where he was like, no, I've got to go back home and stuff. I want his reason there to be, for staying, not to be like, I just want to get back home, I've done the job, to be like, no, you sent me out there with fucking wooden sword. Why would I ever let you help me again? What the hell?
It lasted 5 seconds, you dick.
Like, it doesn't have to be the Master Sword, but just like something made of metal would be great.
Well, that was a little reference to the newest game, Breath of the Wind, whatever it is, where the swords just break every 5 seconds.
Yeah. I got it.
Cheers, man.
But no, I loved the theme. It was very 80s. Kids on the 80s apparently biked a lot.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
It shows up in every fucking thing. It's just...
It's a trope, dude.
I know. Oh, it's a hard choice, though. Because both of them are non-traditional. Ben's arguably a bit more traditional. Both kind of vibes of Sword Art Online, weirdly enough.
Cool.
I am gonna give it to Ben here, and that's based purely, but I am gonna do it with the sort of thing that I'm doing it from a subjective, very subjective and not objectively critical, because it's very hard to choose between them objectively. But just purely emotionally, purely emotionally, there is the getting Zelda and Link in there. It is a bit more of a trigger for me in this one than they're trying to do something more different. Sorry, you tried to do something different, Mike, and as usual, we hated you for trying to.
I went super safe with mine. You couldn't get much safer than here's Link front and centre. I'd feel a bit uncertain about doing something that's like down the line, obvious and safe.
Even if it's even though Ben's is across 3 films.
Yeah. Here's the thing. It's just that literally, objectively, I cannot choose between them. Like, maybe yours, Mike, objectively, for doing something new and for trying a format which I would love to see that in. Like, I like the sort of blend of high school slice of life with fantasy adventure, but subjectively, I do just want to see Link and Zelda themselves. I do want to see Ganon, and like I can't separate that. I have to say Ben wins because he actually put Link in there.
Excellent.
All right, you're the boss.
Fuck you for trying something new.
Right, I'm gonna roll the dice. Give me a second. As if I just rolled a 20. I've ruined. Oh fuck! That's so annoying.
Mike, did we just crit the next episode?
Yeah.
Roll twice again.
Oh, okay. It's not really my turn to pitch next because I pitched the last 2. But it's Power Rangers.
Damn.
So who wants to? I think I don't. I want to pitch, but like I'd happily listen to 2 pitches about Power Rangers and quiz you aggressively.
Oh my God.
So
I'm happy to pitch, but I think I've pitched more. I think my total of pitches is slightly higher. I'm happy to pitch again. I could increase my win total by more.
I don't mind either way. Let's see, actually, I'm wondering who's pitched. So, it was me and Mike for episode 1, me and Ben for episode 2, you and Ben, Mike and Ben for then me and Ben, me and Mike, Ben. I think, I don't know, maybe me and you again, Mike? 'Cause I think you might have pitched the least. I think.
What, me?
Yeah, you've done.
Have I really pitched the least?
Sure.
Man of Steel, Star Wars, TMNT, actually Black Widow. So one.
This is just going to be a shot-for-shot remake of the Power Rangers theme.
You've done
film.
You've done 5 of 8.
Ivanhoe's.
Actually, I think.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I want Ivanhoe's.
Apparently, this team just likes nostalgia and seeing the things.
Oh, here we go. There we go.
Bowie can play Zordon.
Now that's a good idea.
I've gathered you teens. You've got to fight Ivanhoe's.
You're the Power Rangers.
In space.
Oh
My God.
Imagine him doing the theme tune. Go, go, Power Rangers. Yes.
Okay, yeah, we'll do you and me next, Mike, because Ben has pitched the most.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, fuck you. Excellent. Callum, do you want to sign us off?
Let's close this out. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Pitch Please. I've been your host, Callum Tyndall. I've been joined by Mrs. Mike Orvis and Ben Fee. You can.
Did you just call me Mrs. Mike Orvis?
I think he's trying to use the word messes. I don't think it's really working out for him.
Callum, did you just try to do something different?
No, Mike, you don't get it. It's okay when I do it because I'm
not a fan of.
You will never live this down. This is it now.
Excellent. Right. Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you next time.
It is.
Thank you very much for listening to another episode of Pitch Please. You can tell us how awful we are by tweeting Mike at @the_dark_Mike or me at CTN94. Ben Fee is too ancient to engage in the Twitter sphere. You can also, if you want to provide a little more constructive criticism, contact us by emailing content@geek-pride.co.uk. Let us know who you think won. And, as always, Matt Geary, he knows what he did to the horses. Thanks for listening.